If you've ever explored modalities like astrology or human design, then perhaps you've wondered why your time of birth is so significant when it comes to your human life and these interpretive arts around your soul's journey, who you are, things like that. So in this short video, I'm going to share with you my thoughts and theories as a professional astrologer to explain the significance of your moment of birth. And to do that, I want to first point out the fact that you are eternal energy. This is going to be important for context to really look at the reasons why your moment of birth is as significant in terms of your life journey. Comes down to remembering that we are all eternal energy. And this is a law of thermodynamics in that, energy cannot be destroyed or created, only transformed. As you are, we can even think of that moment of inception, when the egg and sperm join and a life begins to form. And then there's a gestational period where the baby's growing in the belly. And then there's that moment of birth, which we're going to talk about. And then there's our human life, and then there's death. Energy is not created or destroyed in any of these moments. It is always transformed. And so in true, scientifically accepted evidence, you are eternal energy that has experienced things before this form that you're in right now. What those things are, that's up for debate. And you will experience other forms after you die. What those forms are, who knows? Again, but talking about our experience in this human life from the time of our birth to the time of death, it's really important that you remember that you are energy evolving. That's all we see energy do in all different forms, is energy experiencing itself in very unique ways, individual ways. And that's what you are. You are energy experiencing itself in a very singular, unique vibrational pattern. And that brings me to this next kind of lens that I invite you to see yourself through, and that is you are an energy field. You are an energy field in a unified field of so many different energy fields that contributes to all material reality. And so kind of seeing yourself in this way, quite literally, if you think about all the atoms that are connected in just the way that they are to create your body functioning just the way that it is right now, all of that is a vibrational pattern in the wholeness of your energy fields. This interference pattern is sometimes used by physicists to describe our human body in this unified field of energy all around us. So kind of starting here, looking at yourself as eternal energy experiencing itself in a very unique form in this human life, that really allows us to step into these next 3 reasons that I'm going to explain and share as to why your moment of birth is so significant to understand your evolutionary journey as energy in this life. The first thing that I want you to recognize the moment you're born is your energy field leaves the field of your mother, and you are now an independent energy field interacting in, again, this web of energy all around us. If you think about gestation as a baby is growing in the mother's belly, the life force energy is still very much connected. And one could even say that the baby isn't even necessarily an individual yet. Between the umbilical cord and the exchange of energy that is constantly happening when the baby is inside the mother, it's almost like 1 is becoming 2 and 2 is becoming 1 at this moment of birth. That is quite literally cell division on another lens of life. And so that moment that you are born, and especially when the umbilical cord is cut, you are now an independent energy field in this unified field that is surviving on your own. While you're in your mother's belly, you're very much, her life and state of being is keeping you alive. But once that umbilical cord is cut and you're born, and it is a start of a cycle. And that moment, I want you to think about, if you're running a race, We need a starting point to measure evolution and transformation. And that starting point is the fundamental patterns in which were present that moment that you were like, I'm an independent energy field that is interacting with all the energy around me now without the filter or support of the mother's energy. And that takes me into point number 2, is that when you are born and you take your first breath, and you are outside of your mother, your energy field is directly connected and interacting with and influenced by all of the energy fields around you. And that includes the state of our solar system the moment you were born. You know, our energy fields are connected to the Earth's energy field, and the different shifts that happen to that field influence our field. And the Earth's field is very much affected by the planetary movements and positions and all of that. And so there's a certain frequency pattern that you start this evolutionary cycle of life interacting with when you take a breath and you begin converting oxygen to CO2, and this particle interaction that happens on this most subtle level of life really does affect us and our biofields in that state. And so you're not only breathing in and out, quantum exchange happening, but photons are touching your skin directly, and your energy field is now independently interacting with all of these quantum patterns that form all of life, because you are always connected. And that connection on your own starts at birth. And that leads me into the third reason that the moment of your birth is so significant, and that is other humans can see you. And this is a basis of the observer effect. You know, I can't look at another person and another person can't look at me without there being some exchange of energy. You know, say that I see someone and I have a judgment about them. You know, that energy that I'm emitting about that person, connection around what I'm seeing from them, influences them in some way, even if on the most subtle level. Our expectations of how we think other people should act or dress or appear or whatever it might be, the social conditioning basically begins at this moment of birth by way of other people's observations influencing you. Kind of like in the same way, you know, if you're like trying to type and all of a sudden someone comes and starts watching you and you just like forget how to type and you're like, I normally don't make all these errors, but there's this thing that happens to our fields when we know we're being watched that influences how we express ourselves. There's an energetic exchange happens, and while you're in your mother's belly, no one can really see you. Sure, they know there's a baby in there, but always filtered. You're almost like hidden from the world. And that exposure that happens at birth, you know, everyone's like, this is a baby, this is how we treat a baby. Our expectations of you begin to start conditioning and exchanging information that is part of your evolutionary journey as a human. So when it comes to understanding your unique evolutionary journey as energy in this life, I hope these reasons and theories and ideas that I have thought about as a professional astrologer help you understand why the starting point of you being your individual energy field, contributing to this grand energy field as being a significant vibrational pattern to explore and understand. And that's what your natal chart and human design chart really show. They show this starting point of the race that all of your evolution is kind of tied back to in some way. And that being said, I kind of just want to take a moment to also share the role your natal chart and human design chart have in your life, because in a way they do show social conditioning and restriction, kind of these fixed vibrational principles that you are here experiencing and navigating. However, if you ever encounter astrology or human design, an interpretation from one of these charts as being really limiting and restrictive, maybe even disempowering, like you're doomed to experience a certain pattern for the rest of your life, In my professional opinion, that is a misinterpretation of what these vibrational patterns represent in your life, by way of you are ultimately the creator and the navigator. You get to decide how you navigate these fixed expressions, meaning like you didn't get to choose where Saturn was in the sky. Kind of like you didn't get to choose the DNA that you are here expressing. Or maybe you did and we just don't remember. That could be another angle for sure to look at this. But the ultimate takeaway that I want you to consider when looking at your natal chart or human design or anything that's from your moment of birth, there is this principle of being fixed in these vibrational patterns that were present. However, you get almost an abundance of ways to navigate and express them. And that's where your freedom as a creator really gets to be considered. I like to use the study of epigenetics to describe this, like we are born with like kind of a fixed set of DNA. But the study of epigenetics shows that how we navigate our human experiences, our beliefs around, what something is for us really can change how our DNA is expressed. And we can begin to produce different proteins and different structures that can literally remove disease from our bodies, and other things of that nature. So your natal chart, your human design chart is not a fixed box for your identity. Actually, I hope that in this video I shared with you that your true identity is eternal energy and your consciousness experiencing itself in a very unique form, evolving through energy in this human life, with that base starting point being that first moment that you are an individual energy field. And understanding those patterns can be really, really useful and resonant with leaning into your unique expression as energy in this life. And actually expressing that to its fullest potential is ultimately the goal of astrology or human design or these other modalities, is how can you really lean into and express to their fullest abilities these innate, unique vibrational dynamics that are present in this human life. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you're interested in connecting with me deeper as an astrologer, I have some offerings. I do a monthly free full moon circle, and I'm starting to do in-depth astrological reports that give you insight into astrological dynamics that influence your life. And so you can check out some of those resources below if you want to join me for more exploration of the cosmos and the human soul. But thank you so much for watching again, and catch you at my next video.